crazy story out of Thailand. Really sad story, but also really, really crazy. An 8-year-old boy was found to be raised by dogs. This kid, according to reporting, according to the Mirror UK, locals reported seeing this kid's mother begging for change and food in the local area. And she apparently took the kid to school one time to get a grant for his education, but it was a grant that she then reportedly just blew on drugs for herself. So she never sent the kid to school. He was completely uneducated. Families nearby reportedly banned their children from interacting with this little boy because of his mother's behavior. And without any humans to interact with, the mother neglected him because she was doing drugs. He turned to dogs for socialization and ended up mimicking their behavior so that when he was found, he could not speak. He could only bark. His only companions were dogs who appear to have raised him. This is related to a story that we just talked about, which is why you're allowed to have an opinion about people's supposedly private behavior. Because we are mimetic creatures. So how did the kid learn to bark? Because we're mimetic creatures, we just imitate each other. So we're you're going to adopt the speech patterns of people that you talk to. You're going to adopt the desires even of people you talk to. You're going to want to wear the same kind of clothes that the people you admire wear. You're going to want to buy the nice wristwatch, not because you know anything about horology, but because the guy that you admire wears that wristwatch. We're mimetic. And so if the creatures that you're spending all your time with are dogs, you're going to bark like a dog. And you can't be surprised when the local people don't want to have their kids interact with you because they know that the kids are going to act like you too. And that's why you're known by the friends you keep. And that's why sometimes parents say, don't hang out with that family over there. That's also why the political upshot of this, the good news politically is, that's why we're allowed to have an opinion about other people's behavior, because other people's behavior affects us. And if you don't have standards and norms to keep people in check, if you just let them gallivant like creeps at a pride parade or bark like dogs because of parental neglect or do any manner of weird stuff, it's going to affect everyone. It's going to spread like a putrid miasma over your civilization because people are going to imitate it unconsciously. That's just how mimesis and mimetic desire works. Now, speaking of education, you know that guy in New York, the socialist Muslim who he won the Democrat primary. He'll probably be the next mayor of New York, Zohran Mamdani. Well, this guy is a breaking news story from Benjamin Ryan. I think it was the New York Times reported it. Benjamin Ryan was a liberal reporter, though a hat tip here to Cremio, which is a far right-wing Twitter account, is a story that apparently this guy Mamdani pretended to be black on his application to Columbia University. This guy Mamdani, who's pretty white, what is he? He's Indian or something? I don't know, whatever he is. He's fairly light-skinned. He certainly ain't a black guy. He pretended to be a black guy to get into Columbia University. And he defended it too, by the way. So here's the New York Times reporting. Mamdani identified as Asian and African American on college application. Zohran Mamdani, the Democrat running for mayor of New York City, was born in Uganda. He doesn't consider himself black, but said the application did not allow for the complexity of his background. And this is how he defended it. He said, most college applications don't have a box for Indian Ugandans, so I checked multiple boxes trying to capture the fullness of my background. Even though these boxes are constraining, I want my college application to reflect who I was. This is less credible than the government conclusions about Jeffrey Epstein. No, you understand. The fullness of my background was not comprehensible by so I had to pretend to be a black guy. That's not why he did it. He did it because he wanted an advantage. And he knows that, at least at that time, even still today, even after the Supreme Court struck down affirmative action, but even still today, if you say you're black on your college application, you get an advantage. You get bonus points. It's easier to get in. That's why he did it. Now, to me, the biggest red flag of this whole story is that he went to Columbia. Columbia University, they produce, of all the schools, and they seem to produce some of the absolute worst, the worst of the worst. But beyond that, everyone's saying, well, he's a radical Muslim. I don't see any evidence he's a radical Muslim. He seems like a communist. I think there's a lot of evidence he's a communist. I don't see evidence. I think he's a regular old lefty who, kind of an extreme lefty, a race lefty. What do they call it? Race communism, like a real extreme woke kind of lefty. But I don't see evidence that he's an Islamist. In some ways, it would be an improvement if he were an Islamist. At least then I could say, okay, he believes in God to some degree. He believes in some version of a kind of slightly, relatively traditional morality. And no, it's not that. It seems more like he engages in what we used to call woke, which we now call race communism. That said, more power to him. That's what I say. I know this is an unpopular view on the Mamdani story. More power to him. If you believe that the racial discrimination that the government has enforced in college applications for decades is unjust, then I don't see why we would be upset about this guy subverting the system. He's not a black guy. He pretended to be a black guy. He's subverting the system to his own benefit. He wasn't doing it to public benefit. He was doing it to his own benefit. But if you think that that system's unjust, I don't know why we're on his case. Shouldn't we have all been subverting the system? If you think it's really, really unjust, shouldn't we have been subverting it if we can? He didn't even lie. He was born in Uganda, so technically he can claim to be African. It's like Elon Musk pretending to be an African American, But I don't know if he could do it. I don't know. More power to him. Sorry, there are plenty of reasons to criticize this guy. I don't think that is one of them. That was a good clip, huh? Now stop, ring the bell, subscribe. See you next time.